Turning Red is the newest movie from Pixar Animation Studios, and it just so happens to be their 25th movie, actually, which is pretty impressive. I reviewed their movie Luca when it came out last year, but I don't think I really talked about my actual thoughts on Pixar and on their films. I'm a massive fan of Pixar. I mean, a number of their movies were a huge part of my childhood, and I watched a lot. Obviously, the first two Toy Story movies, really. I watched those a bunch, and then I remember just being so excited when the third one came out. And I mean, you got The Incredibles, Monsters, Inc., even Cars. I was a big fan of Cars when I was younger. They've made a lot of really great movies, very few misses. A few, you know, not all of them have been great, but I mean, easily one of the most consistent animation studios that we have out there today. And once again, this did have a original theatrical release planned, but of course, because of, you know, it was moved to Disney Plus only, which is pretty annoying, kind of aggravating as someone that likes to go to the theater pretty often, but whatever, you know, I'll take what I can get. And I honestly was not really anticipating this movie at all. I thought it looked kind of stupid, kind of dumb, but you know, they didn't really show a whole lot in the trailers. Now that I've seen the movie, there really wasn't a whole lot that they actually gave away about the premise. The basic premise is that we follow this girl named May. She's 13 years old. For some reason, it takes place in 2002. I don't really know why, but it does. I don't know. It just does for some reason. Her and her family live in Toronto, where they look over this temple that is dedicated to their ancestor Sun Yi. It's pretty clear early on from the setup, even though they don't really give us a whole lot of information at the beginning. They insinuate that there is a lot of history with this family and with this temple and with their religion and traditions and stuff like that. One morning, May wakes up and she is turned into this red panda, which is obviously pretty scary. You know, it's kind of like, what the hell, why am I a panda? And she learns that it is something that has been passed down from Sun Yi from way back when. It was something that she had to protect her daughters, and since then it gets passed down to every female family member, and it's sort of like a tradition. It goes from every female in their family. And they turn into the panda if they have some sort of extreme emotion. If they get really happy, really excited, or if they get really angry and upset, then they turn into this big red panda. And throughout the movie, May does kind of have to learn how to contain the panda, while at the same time sort of learning about containing her own emotions, because, you know, she is 13. She's sort of at that stage where she's kind of going through puberty now, and, you know, all that stuff is happening with her as well. Pixar did it again. That's really all I gotta say here. They have done it once again. They have proved me wrong once again, which I should have known by now, because Pixar does kind of have a history of not having the best trailers in the world. But damn, I mean, this was a great movie. I loved this movie, and yeah, that's all I got for you guys. Thank you all for watching. Peace. No, I'm just playing. But in all seriousness, I was extremely impressed with a lot of things in this movie. One thing that really caught my eye, and I continued to notice as I was watching throughout it, is its love for and its influence from anime. There are a bunch of different things in this movie that you could compare to anime, or say take influence from anime. May has this one friend that is sort of a part of her group, and she's like super crazy and over the top and is always yelling everything. And if you've seen any kind of anime ever, you know that there's always that one character that is extremely outgoing and just yells everything, and is like kind of a crazy character when you put them in a normal subdued setting. The animation as well, which is once again beautiful. I mean, yeah, Pixar, we all know it was going to be a great looking movie. Whether or not it was good or not, it was going to look good. We all know that. But the animation even has some callbacks to anime as well. There are even some certain shots that have hand-drawn animation in the mix as well. Whether it's to emphasize that someone is getting teary-eyed, or if their veins are popping out, if they're having some sort of extreme emotion, some extreme physical emotion, then they use this hand-drawn animation to really emphasize it and make it pop out. Sort of like those gross-ups from like old 90s Nickelodeon cartoons, except they're not singular shots, they're motion pictures, I guess. The film was directed by Domi Shi, and based off of research I've done, she was apparently really into anime when she was younger, and she watched it a lot and read a ton of it. And you can totally see that with their direction in this movie. The way that certain characters act, obviously visually there are lots of callbacks and references to anime as well. And it was just super cool to see Pixar go in this direction, this sort of hybrid of what we normally get from Pixar, the things we come to expect, and an anime twist on it as well. I was not expecting that at all. It's one of the things the trailers really don't give away even in the slightest. There are a few standouts I thought from the voice cast. Rosalie Chiang does a very good job as the main character May. Sandra Oh was really good as the character Min Lee, who is May's mother. I loved what they did with that character, and especially her bond with May, or lack thereof, really, because they really do kind of butt heads for a majority of this film. But then seeing where that relationship ends up by the end of the movie, it really, I thought, was extremely touching and beautiful. And of course, Pixar once again comes through with these really heartfelt moments that put a tear to a lot of people's eyes. This movie is also surprisingly very funny, and that's another thing that I was not expecting with this movie, because I really didn't think the trailers were funny at all. But there is a lot of humor in this that works very well. Most notably is the concept of this boy band that's in the film called Four Town, which is obviously a parody of the actual boy band O-Town. And I just thought that they did a lot of funny stuff with that. Like, this one character, I forget who it is, points out, like, there's 5 of them. Why is it called Four Town? It should be called Five Town. I really have very little to complain about with this movie. I guess if I am to pinpoint anything, it's that it is kind of a little bit predictable in regards to where things end up with May and, you know, the panda side of her. And at a point in the movie, she does have a chance to sort of get rid of the panda. The family has to do this whole ritual that gets rid of the panda out of her body. And as it gets closer and closer to that ritual, you do kind of start to see where things might end up with her feelings on having the panda as a part of her. And I'm kind of rambling on here, but the point is that I did kind of see where it was going to go, and it went there. But it didn't bother me too much, and there is a very good message that is in line with this decision that May's character makes. But beyond that, I had a very good time watching this movie. It was a huge surprise for me. I loved a lot of the characters in this movie. James Hahn is in this movie as well. I mean, legendary actor. It was super cool to hear his voice. He has a small role, but just really great to hear him, and the fact that he's still doing movies, I think, is awesome. But yeah, nearly all the characters I thought were very well done. Obviously, animation-wise, visually, this movie is an absolute spectacle, as we would expect from Pixar at this point. And it had a surprisingly endearing story to it as well, which I was not expecting at all, but was very happy to see. With that said, I'm giving Turning Red an A-. Thought it was great. Once again, I really would have liked to have seen this in the theaters. I still thought it was great watching it from my home. I had a great time with it. If you have by now seen this movie, I would love to know what you think about it, as well as if you like the fact that Pixar is branching out and experimenting with different genres. I personally love that. I think it's awesome. I would love to see what else they do, what they sort of experiment with. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And yeah, that's all I got for you guys. This time I'm actually done. I'm not kidding. This time this is over. I'm done with the review. My mouth is super dry. I need some water. And yeah, that's it. Thank you all for watching. Peace out.